allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Do we have any additions or deletions to our agenda today?
Yes, we had a request for an executive at the beginning of the meeting.
Okay.
So if we want to do that real quick.
Rosalie?
Yes.
Just for a minute. Yeah. So I gotta figure out, now I gotta go over there.
Cash bill that the board is going to table pending further discussion with Kylie, and we'll make a decision at a later date.
Yes.
Perfect.
Alrighty. Any other additions, deletions?
No.
Alrighty. Introduction of the new librarian.
I'm chair of the trustees of the library, so I brought Harry over. We hired him in November, and I thought it was time for you guys to meet him and stuff. This is Wally Steenhauer, Andy Pond, Sherry Paquette. Remember, are you still going to be name?
Yeah, Marissa. Yeah, I'm not married.
No, yeah, me name.
Are you?
Tessier?
Yeah.
Tessier, yeah.
I knew what you were trying to say,
I'm
but
not
I'm really
married.
saying it.
This is Alan Fletcher, who has been around the town hall for how many years?
Too long.
And I'm sorry I don't know you.
It's okay. I'm Kristen Shepherd.
We're very thankful for the help that you've been giving us with the grants that we've been writing and stuff like that. And working together with you, wonderful. Harry wants to tell you a little bit about himself so that you get to know him.
So again, my name's Harry Hansen. I'm originally from Fairbanks, Alaska. I was born outside of city limits. So as far as being the closest person to raised by wolves you've ever met, I might be kind of up there in the standings. Let's see here. I spent the first 20 years of my life in Alaska, just living with my dad. After that, I joined the Navy. I spent 6 years as an IT, where I'm traditionally trained. Know a lot about computers, so if y'all have any issues, come to me first. Once I was done with the Navy, went back to Alaska, COVID hit. I had a whole reckoning with my home state, and my wife and I decided to sell everything we owned, jump into our van, and trek across the U.S. After about 9 months of sleeping in our van, we decided to land in Vermont, and very happy to be here. We love Richford, and get excited to join you guys.
Welcome.
Nice meeting you.
So this isn't much snow for you. We're all sick of it.
No, this is mild. My home at this point, I haven't checked today, but last I checked, we had 444 inches this year. Yeah.
You're lucky, aren't we?
I don't know, is that like J peak 440 inches or like real 440?
Right.
The coldest I've ever felt is negative 92 degrees. It's so cold at that temperature that you can take a banana outside, leave it outside for like 2 minutes, bring it inside, and you can hammer a nail into a 2x4.
Oh.
With the banana.
Alrighty.
You have some stories.
All right, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Are the library hours the same?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Do we have any discussion on the meeting minutes from last meeting?
No?
If not, do I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve.
All right, all in favor?
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Marissa, you're up.
Okay, so it's been a while since we've had an update on 50 for our street. Our realtor was out on maternity leave, so, and there really wasn't any action going on with it, but within the last week or two, we've had a couple visits, one very interested party, obviously we don't know who, but, today I went there with Jason, we had to unlock the basement, they wanted to see the basement, he plowed out the driveway for me, so they could get in to look at it again, so hopefully that'll be going somewheres soon. I've been receiving information on the paving grant for highway, and we applied for the structures one last year and received that one, which work will begin on that in the spring, hopefully.
The paving grant
The
is.
paving grant we
is
got denied,
last year, but
was
it's,
last year, but it comes out every
yeah,
year.
and it's pretty
through V-Trans.
straightforward, right?
It's pretty straightforward. We can use the same application. I mean, obviously, prices are gonna change.
Yeah.
So we'll have to, Jason usually gets his, quotes for paving in March, he said. I talked with him today.
And hope,
So-
fingers crossed, we're in cycle to get it.
To get
you know,
that, yeah.
'cause that
So-
will help us get ahead instead of barely maintaining.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's pretty much it. We had our charter change meeting last week. We have another one coming up February 20th at 6 o'clock upstairs. So yeah, that's pretty much it. It's been, and then we're working on the town report. That should be going to the printer tomorrow. Everything's been finalized with that. So hopefully within a couple weeks we'll have those printed so people can start to pick those up. And there's a few new reports in there. The chair report's a little bit longer this year.
Yeah.
We added quite a bit of information regarding grants and the holiday fund money, things like that. The warning for town meeting went out.
Yep.
So people should see that out. That's all I have.
Were you able to get a picture for the dedication?
Yes. Yep, we got our 2 dedications this year. The book will be dedicated to Kim Collins and Norris Tillison.
Nice.
Highway, plowing. I don't know. Before this most recent dusting, I think the streets of Richford had been fairly well cleaned up. The piles of snow where they needed to be moved had been moved. It looked pretty good. The back roads, the snowbanks are getting high. It's looking like what I remember as a child now. I got one snowbank right below my house. It's probably pushing 5 feet with all the snow drifting that we've had. But other than that, things are good. I guess end of this month coming up and early next month will be full on the mud season. And so that'll be a different adventure. I just have a personnel update for executive. Nothing significant, but
Okay. Is D&D still here? I haven't seen him.
They were here last week. They've been off and on.
I will
But,
say,
yeah,
I will say the
say.
upstairs is very
Yes.
a lot brighter than it has been.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the switches are a lot nicer I don't have to go all the way upstairs to the sound booth to turn the lights on. I can flick all the light switches downstairs and everything is bright, so.
Nice.
One comment I will make actually also to that, at our charter change meeting, we did not have the microphone system up. The D&D had been working up there the last week or so, and I don't know what breakers they shut off for the work that they were doing. And I was unable to get the microphone system, but I'm gonna make sure that that is up and running for a town meeting, because that's very crucial for that point in time for everyone to be able to hear.
Okay.
So, but I didn't wanna fool with anything
And then have them.
electrical and I didn't want to mess anything up that they were doing, so that was why we didn't have the microphone at the charter change, but hopefully
Excellent.
we'll have it.
Sherry?
Oh, okay. They're working on the upstairs of the post office building, and it's actually looking really nice. Marissa went up and looked at it too. It's a huge change, looking good.
Do we have plans for upstairs? Yeah, we're just getting.
We did.
I know we did, but, I mean, rehauled, right?
We're just finishing up, we had that grant, so we wanted to not lose the grant money, so we're getting it fixed, and then hopefully from that point, we can figure out something feasible to do with the upstairs there, because it'll be up and ready to go. Besides that, I really don't have much of anything else. We have another quote for the painting of this building. We have another quote for the library. So
We're working on one more for the.
one more for the library, so hopefully we can hit 3 at least.
For the post office, would the town consider having the Historical Society move there, and then you would have the building where the Historical Society is now could possibly be sold for commercial use?
I don't know if anyone's ever thought of that.
Never really thought about that, but that would be a cool idea too. We have to get an elevator though, so that's a grant we have
Yeah.
to work on.
That's I think that's pretty standard with anything that you're gonna put up there. It would have to be ADA compliant.
Yep.
So we'd have to just work on getting the grant for the ADA compliance and getting an elevator in there. But
That's
if you
cool
get one
thought
of those in
process,
there,
too.
I would say that your options are,
We
pretty
can
wide
display all the
open.
old pictures of that building when it was being built.
Mhm.
We have them all.
Is the Historical Society just the ground floor down and
No,
down?
No, it's the whole upstairs
I
It
didn't-
does have a lift.
Oh, it does?
But it doesn't work, it hasn't worked for several years.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it has a lift, we don't, it doesn't say it doesn't work. But yeah,
Okay.
but yeah, it might be
Yeah,
a
something-
possibility.
Something to think about.
Yeah, it's a good thought. That's all I have
What about the heating system for this building?
for this building. It's supposed to be worked on this year. The guy, Kylie, was
The-
reaching out to that
the-
gentleman one more time.
Chris Wheeler, I believe his
Yep.
name is. He was an engineer. He's gonna get us the best options, and then what he does is he puts it out to bid to get somebody in here to replace the system. So that's being worked on. So that money or that work will be done this year to upgrade
Yes.
the heating system. Obviously not for this winter, but hopefully next winter.
Sorry, John. I was hoping for this past winter.
I know.
I know. I was
know.
really hoping for this past winter, but it just with the grants and everything, we just weren't able to.
The way everything falls.
Everything kind of fell into the late fall, early winter.
Is that it for you?
That's it.
Water and sewer?
Well, Kylie, Jeremy, and I met with Oil Tanner. I'll keep this as short as I can. They're doing both the phosphorus optimization study for us and the sludge analysis for the clean out of the lagoons. And it was kind of a good news, bad news meeting. We basically have about 2 feet of sludge in Lagoon 1, but 4 to 5 feet in Lagoon 2. So we really need to clean them out because the sludge is displacing the water. So we have to do a lot more aerating than we normally do because there's not enough volume of water in the lagoons to break down the waste. But anyway, the good news was that based on their analysis of our sludge, when we do get around to cleaning it, we're going to be able to have it hauled to a landfill. It's not going to require special processing or
Nice.
anything. We got to take the water out of it, and that's going to be part of the clean out. But it's going to be able to go to the landfill, and the hauler or the contractor that gets hired to do the clean out will take care of that. They can't just haul it up to the dump and back up the dump truck and dump it. They gotta get permission from the state, but the contractor takes care of all that. They estimate the cost to do this to be about $1 million, and the financing for it that we're looking at is through the U.S. Department of Agriculture. The grant portion of it is going to be somewhere between 50 to 75% of the cost. The rest we'll have to pay ourselves. However, it looks like we're going to be eligible for a 0% interest loan. So if we can get a grant for $750 and we only have to borrow $250 at 0%, it's not gonna be too bad.
Right.
And that's where the bad news comes in, though. The U.S. Department of Agriculture is going to require 2 more engineering studies before we can apply for the grant. One is a feasibility study and one is an environmental study. Hoyle Tanner will do both of those for us. However, Department of Agriculture is going to require them. So the bad news is that it looks like it's not going to happen this year. They're saying that if they're going to send us a quote for the studies, and we should get going on the studies, both of them right away.
Yeah.
They'll probably have them completed by this summer, but they said by then
It'd be too
we
late to
would be
start.
too late to get a contractor here this summer to clean out the lagoons. But we can get everything in place and have it ready to go for next spring.
How is this the first time we'll have cleaned the lagoon?
Yep.
So it's not something you have to do often.
No,
When was that system put in? I mean, it's been there as long as I can remember.
as long as I can remember.
As long as I can
So,
remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And is there anything that could have been done to prevent this, or is it just a natural occurrence it builds over time?
a little of both. Some of the chemicals that were used in the past weren't as good as what we're using now. I call it Cervix. Jeremy calls it something else, but that new chemical that we use now in the lagoons is a lot better than the alum we used to use. So hopefully we won't have to deal with this again for a very long time. Hoyle Tanner is going to get us the quotes for the 2 studies, and I'll be bringing them, Andy and I will be bringing them to a meeting, because in talking to Kylie, we want to get going on this now. We don't want to wait. We want to tell them, once we get the quote, go ahead, do the studies, and then we'll apply for the grant and get it lined up for next spring. They think it's about $30,000, but like I say, once we get the actual quote, I'll be bringing it, asking to spend the money out of our own pocket for right now to just get it started. And then we're going to have to discuss when we get closer. They got into all the things involved with the actual clean out. There's 2 ways you can do it: dredging the lagoon or completely draining it, and having an excavator go in and just scoop it out. But draining the lagoons involves shutting the system down, and I don't know if that's going to be possible.
So it's not I guess I've never actually looked at our lagoon, so it's not like divided so you can alternate sides.
Well, there's 2 lagoons, yeah.
So you can't just function off one side for a week while you do the other?
That's my understanding. You need both lagoons. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm learning a
That's
little
my
bit.
understanding.
Yeah, okay.
But we'll have plenty of time to talk about which one we want to do once we actually get to that point. And so anyway, that was the basics on that. And then the phosphorus optimization study, they've completed that, and they're going to be working with Jeremy because the study is such that it involves basically the dosing of the chemicals that goes into the system. They'll be able to advise Jeremy what dosing to use now to keep the phosphorus as low as possible. Then after we get the lagoons, of course, cleaned, it's going to change, but they'll be able to advise him on the dosing to keep the phosphorus as low as possible after we clean it. So.
Cool.
The only other thing I had was there was a sewer dig on Dewey Street last week. We may have to dig it up again. Jeremy was able to dig up enough to jet out the clog. It wasn't related to frost or cold, it was just a clog. And however, there's another issue further down the line that probably going to need to be addressed. But there was too much frost. They couldn't get to it with the excavator. They were going to have to rent a jackhammer for the excavator. And I told Jeremy, no, we don't want to be digging up the street. It was right in the middle of the street. And we don't want to be
No.
jackhammering up the streets in January if we don't have to. We may have to dig it up again this summer to fix it the right way, not just jet it out, but basically what's happened, from the way Jeremy was describing it, I don't know if it's settling or whatever, but the pipes have settled and there's a bend.
Yep.
And so we're gonna need to fix it, but it's working for right now, and
Good for summer.
yeah.
Can I ask a question? If someone building a new house or putting a mobile home here in the village, because they've asked me in the office, there is a cost to be hooked up to the town water and sewer. And I think I looked in your new regs, did it say $2,000 or something like that?
Something like that, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So the only thing, I talked to Jeremy today, we lost a fire hydrant down in front of People's Plaza. We had a car went off the road, hit it, took it out. I guess it also damaged their fence down there. So that was one thing. He's gonna look to see if it's just a break off, which we're assuming it is because there's no water leakage. The other thing is, he said he had a small leak over on, I believe, Eastern Ave.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, and it was just, he said it wasn't the curb stop, it was our responsibility, and it was something he hadn't encountered before, but it was a 4-inch pipe that had gone down to a 2-inch pipe, and he said he was able to get the part to repair it, so. That's all I have.
Cool.
Any other discussion for water and sewer? Hearing none. Parks, playgrounds, and cemeteries?
I don't have anything.
Alrighty. Other business?
Just kind of getting some updates on things. The stump dump, it's never been clear to me, is it open? Are you gonna have it open? Is it closed to everybody? I mean, it's nice that the town crew picks up twice this year. But it'd be nice throughout the summertime to have that stump dump open, either there or another location, so that people can drop off the refuse. And I know it's been a problem with people dropping off everything and anything that's not.
Yeah, I don't know, I guess we'd have to discuss it. I mean, I don't know how you guys feel, but maybe we can figure out like designated times and have some, have the town employees there, two afternoons, have somebody there to monitor what gets brought in.
They used to have it like Saturday mornings or something, like 3 to 4 hours, and they had an employee that was
Yeah.
sitting there, but some people don't wanna just sit there.
Well, but we can't have these painted material and other things going there.
Mhm.
So it's just figuring out how to do it in the most feasible way. But I think that we can discuss that. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be the highway crew either, but it could be.
I think maybe just do it by permission only, that if somebody wants to take a load or two down, they have to call Jason.
And get a key.
That way, if they go down and they find a bunch of stuff, and they know they gave permission to haul in,
Yep.
we'll know who.
You can
Who
have a
put the
signage
stuff-
sheet too, basically,
Yeah.
who you are and what are you dumping.
Yeah, and maybe even have a sheet here at the town hall of what's allowed and what isn't, and have them come in and pick that up before they take the stuff down. I don't know, it's just an idea.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Basically grass, leaves, and
Right.
Tree
natural
limbs.
wood, tree limbs,
Yeah.
and
And if you did it by the permission and you got that word out to the community that this is an option, but you have to do it by permission to do it, I think that would be a good idea.
okay.
Do we need a policy or something, or do we just?
I mean, I think it probably, if you're gonna do by permission only, I think it's probably best to create a policy just so you're covered.
I mean, I'm not.
Something short and sweet.
Something, I mean,
Yeah,
it's
something
not
short.
gonna be
Yeah, but
6 pages
just
long,
some-
but
Right.
something short, okay, this is allowed here, this isn't allowed it's gonna be permission only, you're to sign in, when you go in.
And talk with the staff,
Yeah.
who's gonna be ultimately
Yeah,
getting that.
who's in charge, yeah.
Okay.
Create
Thank you, if you
policy.
could just research that. Then, couple of updates. Have we found out anything on the rail trail? I know that's been, with the grant money, if we are stuck with a bill, or?
We're still waiting for confirmation of an exact amount from the state attorney. That
Yeah,
Okay.
and we haven't really pushed our attorney because we'd rather pay it after we know the budget's passed.
Right.
So we told our attorney, it would take to shoot for, not really sweat it until,
March.
so I would say March, we'll start putting down pushing a little harder.
Yep.
And then, another thing I update is, has there been any opportunities to talk with other towns or sheriff's departments or whatever to get police here? I know there's a staffing shortage, it's a hard thing, but has there been any opportunities?
After Kristen and I went to the Enosburg stuff, and the board collectively decided not to want to pursue that further. I haven't done anything, and I don't know what our other options would be.
You've reached out to
All the surrounding.
all the
shares.
surrounding, and
Orleans,
nobody seems interested.
Well, how long ago was that?
that was a long time ago.
Yeah,
I mean,
So maybe-
we're probably talking about a year now.
yeah, it's probably something that could be explored again.
Yeah.
I mean, we do have police coverage. When I walked home from the
Yeah, we
meeting
do.
the other
Yeah.
night.
I see them all the
state-
time in my store,
The state
so.
police were in the fire
Well,
station
and that's-
parking lot.
You'll
This
see one.
weekend,
Yeah.
the Chittenden County Sheriff was in the parking
And
lot.
I do know-
That's that iron border patrol thing.
And
whatever-
I
don't
will
know,
say this.
whatever you call it.
Stone Garden.
Stone Garden,
Stone
not
Garden.
iron, yes.
Yeah, the state police do have access to all our cameras as well, so they can access our cameras at
Are
any
they all
time.
working now?
All except for the Main Street part, because we have to wait
For the
till
conduit.
spring to dig up the conduit and get that replaced, unfortunately. And that's where a lot
And
of
you'll
the
see when you
action
read the town
happens.
report, I wrote a piece about the policing and the challenges and trying to net the most. And what I mean by that is, if we have, the state police have to provide coverage, if we're a town that doesn't have police, contracted police service. So if they're here 30 hours a week, and then we contract for 40 and we lose the 30, we're really only positive 10. So we're paying, in a roundabout way, we're paying $170,000 for 10 hours.
Right.
So it's trying to figure out what really benefits the town the most. But yeah, we can reach out to Orleans again.
Yeah,
But that's the only other one I think that would, I'm guessing Swanton was in the Enosburg conversation, and they weren't willing to provide any sort of service to the Enosburg Richford thing, so I'm guessing they're not confident in their staffing enough to do anything expansion. And beyond that, I think you're getting into Colchester, Milton, and I'm guessing that's a little reach for them. But Orleans, we can reach out again.
What about Lamoille County? Because I think they're in Hyde Park, and that's not much different than St. Albans.
Yeah. Okay. Yep, well. Anything else, Rowena?
No.
John?
No, I didn't have anything important, but some of you may have known him. He was always a very good friend to Richford. Neil Lovelett passed away a couple days ago.
Sorry to hear that.
Robert? Mr. Weatherby?
Yes, thank you. I just have one question. How come on the agenda and stuff, we hear from all the committees except the fire and ambulance committee or commissioner?
If there was anything to discuss, we would discuss it.
Okay. Okay, I was just wondering how come it wasn't on the agenda. That's all.
Okay. I guess if there's no other business, I make a motion, we go into executive
I'll
for
second.
personnel.